Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about the unit circle. So you need your calculator, a pen and a pencil, notes, and that unit circle chart that I gave you in class. So just for a little bit of review of converting, we're going to convert all of the following degrees into radians. And you're going to write the radian answer next to the degree answer on the given circle. Since I am feeling very generous and super nice and you guys are pretty good at converting, here they are. So next to on your unit circle, you need to write down all of these radians right next to the degrees. You're going to be using both very often and very frequently, so please make sure you take the time to make this look very nice. Also added to your unit circle, we have our unit circle and it has a center at 0, 0. So on your chart in the center, I need you to put the point and I need you to label the origin 0, 0. It's also very important for us to know that it has a radius of 1. So from the center to the outside of the circle is a measure of 1. So we're going to go around and we're going to create some coordinate points on our picture as well. We're going to have 0, 0 and 4 other ones. The first one's going to be here at 360 or 0. And that point, if we go right 1 and we don't move up or down, is going to be 1, 0. Now we're also going to make one at 90. So we go up 1. So we go 0, 1 because we don't go left or right at all, we just go up 1. Next one is going to be at 180. We went left 1, so it's going to be negative 1, 0. And the last point we're going to put on is 270. We went down 1, so it's 0, negative 1. Please make sure you have all 5 of these points on your unit circle. Also, this next slide is going to go on to our unit circle. You have to draw a new circle to the right above the words that says a unit circle with a center at 0, 0 and the radius of 1. That's where you're going to want to put this circle and create this angle. Now we have a center at 0, 0, a radius of 1. To understand the sine, cosine, and tangent ratios with this circle, let's think about the reference triangle for a unit circle through the general point x, y. So if I'm going to create my reference triangle, and I call this x, y, that means I had to go x units to get there, and I have to go y units up. So on my reference triangle right now, I have my 2 legs of my right triangle. Now, in order to find my hypotenuse, I don't have any numbers, but I do know that this is my radius. Now, in order to fill out my 3 trig functions, all I need to do is put in my reference angle. My reference angle always is at 0, 0. So here's my angle theta. If I use this reference triangle, this is the opposite, this is the adjacent, and this is the hypotenuse. Now sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so it's going to be y over r. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's going to be x over r. And tangent is opposite over adjacent, so that's going to be y over x. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is very important that you highlight, circle, or write this down again. My radius is always 1, so my r value for all of these examples and that we do is going to be 1. Now, before we get into the examples, we're going to talk about when we're going to use our unit circle. It is best to use the knowledge of this unit circle when we are using quadrilateral angles. These are angles whose terminal sides make it impossible for us to draw a reference triangle. For example, if we wanted to find anything to do with 270, if I make 270, my initial side is here, here's 90, 180, and here's 270. I go all the way around. My problem is to make a reference triangle, I have to go to my x-axis. I can't make a triangle, I just make a straight line. So this is when we're going to be using our unit circle. Okay, I have 2 examples for you and we will be all done. Here's example number 1. We're going to be using our unit circle to evaluate our 6 trig functions for eta, angle theta, which is 270. So this, ladies and gentlemen, has to go in your notes. It can't go on your chart, your unit circle. It has to go in your notes. So we're going to be looking at this unit circle. We're going to use sine, cosine, and tangent. Now when we look at 270, we know we're at the point 0, -1. So before I go and fill out all 6 trig functions, I need to make sure I know what r, x, and y equal. R always equals 1. My x value and my y value depend on which point it's at. If it's at 0, 90, 180, or 270. So since we're at 270, my x is 0 and my y is -1. So I have 0, -1. Now as we're going through filling this out, we have sine. Sine is y over r. So y is -1, r is 1, simplifies to -1. My cosine is x over r. So I'm going to have 0 over 1. 0 divided by 1 is just 0. My tangent is y over x. So my y is -1 and my x is 0. Now, stop, think, use your brain here. We can never, ever divide by 0. Ever. So when this happens, we're just going to get an undefined angle. So we're going to write undefined here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to simplify. I'm going to shorten this. Whenever I write undefined, I'm going to write U-N-D. Okay? Now, cosecant is the opposite of sine. So it's going to be r over y. My r is 1. My y is -1, simplifies to -1. Secant is the opposite of cosine, so I'm going to have r over x. My r is 1, my x is 0, so this is going to be undefined because we can't divide by 0. Now cotangent, opposite of tangent, so it's going to be x over y. We're going to get 0 over -1, which just equals 0. Now that we're all done with that, we're going to move on to our last example of the day, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to use the unit circle to evaluate all 6 trig functions of pi over 2. Now here comes a really important part. Why we need to make sure we have all of our radians written down, because pi over 2 is the same as 90. So we're going to be working with 90 degrees here. First thing we have to do before we can figure out our 6 trig functions, r, x, and y. R equals what x equals and what y equals. Since we're working with 90, we're at this point right here. This point is 0, 1. So my r, remember ladies and gentlemen, is always 1. In this case, my x is 0, my y is 1. So x is 0, y is 1. Fill this out. Sine is y over r. My y is 1, my r is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Cosine is x over r, so I have 0 over 1, which just equals 0. Tangent, I have y over x, which is 1 over 0. We can't divide by 0, so we're going to have undefined there. Cosecant, opposite of sine, so we're going to have r over y. My r is 1, my y is 1, I get 1. Secant, secant is the opposite of cosine, so I have r over x, 1 over 0. We cannot divide by 0 ever, so we have an undefined angle. And last but not least, cotangent. Cotangent is the opposite of tangent, so we're going to get y over, x over y. And that's going to be 0 over 1, which just equals 0. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you fabulous, fantastic, marvelous people tonight. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will be seeing you later. Bye.